going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is underrated gems. I mean, in my humble opinion, these are underrated fragrances that I don't really hear a lot of people talking about, and I personally would feel bereft without them in my collection, so I figured I would share them with you guys. These are all affordable designer fragrances. Let's jump in. So the first fragrance I want to present is from one of the most criminally underrated houses, and that is Costume National. And the fragrance I have is 21. I guess you would classify them as a designer fragrance house, since of course they do sell clothing and jewelry. Other stuff. There hasn't been one offering from this house that I've tried that I haven't absolutely adored. Costume National Homme is another one of my ride or die fragrances. So Nude is a fabulous 90s leaning white floral fragrance. Scent and Scent Intense are along these lines of a more woodsy androidian fragrance. But let's talk about this one, because this one in particular this is the one I want to present. So Costume National 21 is an ambery, warm, woody, lightly spicy, androidian, lactonic fragrance. It's so unique. And what's interesting about this in the feel of it is that although it is rather a spicy, woodier, denser fragrance, it also has a quality of clean, gauzy lightness. Is a really interesting juxtaposition with the more spicier, woodsy undertones. It has this really interesting dichotomy about it, and it walks that line of, we all understand all scents are for everyone, but it's this interesting dichotomy between the more feminine leaning notes and the more masculine leaning notes. So it is more than unisex, it is androgynous. The top notes of this include milk, but I don't necessarily register the milk until the dry down, which is when the whole thing starts to smooth out. Because at first, what's most prominent is the spices, and there's caraway and labdanum, black pepper, oak moss, clary sage, and tonka and vanilla, and it just makes like a savory milkshake stew. There is certainly warmth about it from those spices, but it also has a really cool quality. I mean, maybe I'm taking psychological cues from the bottle, but it feels cold despite its warmth. I hope I'm making sense. It actually has a detached quality, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And it really suits the whole aesthetic of the Costume National line in terms of their clothing. It also has quite a futuristic appeal, synthetic in its aesthetics. If you recall the concept of something like Comme des Garçons Odor 53, that was sort of all about industrial notes and nail polish and a rocket ship door handle, the air inside of a space module, like that kind of feeling is alive in this as well. Like paper, like a hot Xerox, the smell of a fax machine, but also spicy and lactonic. I find this fragrance really unique. This would be great for an everyday signature for someone who has more of a clean capsule wardrobe sort of aesthetic. It's simultaneously standoffish and inviting, and in certain situations it could be a snuggle scent as much as it could be social distancing, self-important, mildly aloof, not quite standoffish, and not necessarily introverted, just aloof, detached. But again, in the right circumstances, you can make this lean anyway, I think. Because of its fluffy quality, I find it also comforting for a bedtime scent. You know, like if you're in bed and you're watching sci-fi film, sci-fi anime before you drift off to sleep, this would be a good accompaniment for that. This is one of my absolute favorite hidden gems. I love so many things from this house. So that's Costume National 21. So this next one is a 90s fragrance. I guess it was pretty popular back in the day when it was released, but interestingly enough, I did not know, nor have I ever known anyone who has worn this, and that is 1881 from Cerutti. And this is essentially a powdery yellow floral fragrance. What I find so unique and intoxicating about this particular fragrance is that chamomile note in the middle. For whatever reason, the way this chamomile note blends with the mimosa and the labdanum and the other floral notes, it's really a bomb of florals. There's like freesia, lily, rose, iris. It's just a whole amalgamation of florals in this fragrance. To me, what stands out is chamomile and the mimosa. Now, for a fragrance that has this many florals in it, it is not overpowering to me at all. It is blended in such a way with the sandalwood and the musk at the bottom that is comforting, elegant, extremely versatile fragrance. I don't think I have another fragrance to compare this to. It feels so singular to me. And maybe that has to do with my strong scent memories that are attached to this perfume, but it just feels extremely singular and unique. Now, this is a bottle that I have from the 90s, so the cap is this plastic marble patterned. I believe that they're now packaged in this same shape, but it has a metallic cap. I haven't tried that one, so I don't know if it's been reformulated. I mean, I imagine it probably has, so I can't compare, but this is just absolutely beautiful. It's a soft cashmere sweater type of fragrance. There is a little bit of amber in the base that gives it a lot more warmth than you might expect a yellow floral to be, or to have rather. And with the musk at the base blended with the iris and the violet notes that are in here, it gives a diffuse, softer, powdery musk. It has an evocation of a clean, soapy scent, but not soapy. It's warm and settled in. Yeah, like a cashmere sweater type of clean. Now, I guess one thing I could compare it to is Mémoire d'une Odeur from Gucci, but only in that it has a similar chamomile note that's in there, whereas Mémoire d'une Odeur seems more transparent. This is a little bit more weighty and warm. Snuggly. I imagine a woman in a peach-colored turtleneck cashmere sweater with her hair up, clean, minimal makeup, cuddled up on the couch in front of a fireplace with a mug of chamomile tea. Again, this would be a super solid choice for an everyday signature type of scent. Super, super affordable. You can find this one for steal. That is $18.81 from Cerutti. Next, we have one that I have talked about on this channel before, and this was one of my very favorite blind buys from last year, and that is Cartier's Baiser Vole. Can already discuss this super cool packaging that gives such a satisfying click Zippo lighter of fragrances. And this is a Lily of the Valley scent. It is lily up, middle, down, left, right, everywhere, all over the place, in your bed, in your kitchen, lily in your shoes, lily in your socks, lily in your hair. It's so beautifully done. There's a good amount of greenness, so you get the lily stem, the grass around the lily, the dewdrops on the lily, you get the stamen. Is that what it's called? The stamen? I need to brush up on my biology. Flora. Primarily, this is a super luxurious lily scent. It is rich. It is enveloping. The sillage of this is, I don't want to say sharp because that gives the wrong intonation, but it is piercing in a luxurious, sweeping way. It makes a statement of extreme opulence. It almost evokes a feeling of hot gold. This is a fragrance that just screams having your shit together, knowing what you want out of life, extreme confidence and sophistication, and it is one of the only fragrances that when I wear it, my husband compliments me every single time. As I've said before, he's at the point where he doesn't give two flying foo-foos what I'm wearing because I'm always smelling like something. This could be dressed up, this can be dressed down. This is a crisp white button-down shirt kind of scent as much as it is a little black dress kind of scent. It just exudes such elegance. It's sexy while still being competent and in charge. And in the dry down, it has a really rounded, smooth, thick sort of texture. They're doing some construction outside, so I apologize if you can hear that. But yeah, Baiser Vole from Cartier. Such a satisfying click. Next, we have something that is kind of in the same vein as Baiser Vole, actually. They vibe the same, but the fragrances don't smell the same. And that is Jivago 24K. Another super opulent white floral fragrance. I adore this. As I mentioned in one of my other videos, this was actually my signature scent in high school. This is a very mature, bright white floral. There's tuberose, jasmine, and rose. They're blended in a really beautiful way with some amber, so it just is. It's as if the sun were a flower, this is what it would smell like. This is a really clean, buoyant, smooth, musky, sunlit, opulent, expansive, slightly sweet, extremely feminine, ultra sophisticated fragrance. There's orris in the base along with that amber, which adds to the smooth quality that it has. There are no sharp edges in this at all to me. It does have something of an evocation of really expensive lotion, but like really expensive lotion. I mean, I've never smelled a lotion that smells like this, but it just has that super luxe sink into your skin quality. It smells as though you might naturally smell like this if you were made of gold. There are little gold flecks in here. It does get kind of annoying when you spray it because the little gold flecks do come out onto your clothes and your skin, so be aware of that. And it comes in this weird aggro crag stand. But you know, I was drawn to this as a teenager because you want to be grown up. You want to imagine yourself as a businesswoman at the age of 16 or however old I was when I bought this. Okay, so my camera randomly stopped recording, so I have no idea where I was. But if I think of something else, future editing me will pop in here and tell you more. I have nothing to add. So that was Jivago 24K. Okay, last for today, we have something of a quasi-honorable mention because it is discontinued, but you can still find this for a pretty reasonable price on eBay and the like. And that is Krazy Krizia from Krizia. Krizia? 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 Not sure. Can you see this? I don't know. This is truly a love. This is another one of Dominique Ropion's masterpiece creations, in my estimation anyway. Yeah, it's just fabulous. It is in the same vein as Calvin Klein's Obsession and Mousse de Cartier. It has that deep resinous galbanum thing going on. This is the perfected version of that scent profile. What I don't love about this is that it's not a spray. It's like a weird dabber thing, so I do wind up decanting this so I can spray it. This is the eau de toilette, I believe. Yeah. You can get it in a spray, by the way. Just my bottle isn't. If Obsession is too sharp for you, if it's too loud, if Mousse de Cartier is a little too dismal for you, a little too musty, this is a great alternative. I'm gonna go ahead and dab it on. This is the definition of intoxicating to moi. It is Obsession or Mousse de Cartier with that galbanum sumptuousness, the amber and the resins, but it's smoothed out to the zillionth degree. The amber in this is... I don't know if I can make this make sense. If there were such a thing as an amber flavored ice cream, this might be it. It has that smoothness, and I'm not saying lactonic. It's like a custardy texture. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. I almost like don't want to tell you about it because I want to buy all of them, amass the rest of the world's supply of Krazy Krizia for myself, and put myself in the Guinness Book of World Records as the person who owns the most Krazy Krizia in the world. I would do that if I could. Oh, you guys. Let me stop gushing and try and actually describe it in a way that would be helpful to you. So it has that similar green galbanum, lightly peachy, somewhat aldehydic quality at the beginning. And then you get some more of those floral notes. The carnation and the jasmine and the rose are a haze that sort of float on through in there. And then pretty immediately you're hit with that smooth, creamy, resinous amber and labdanum and the tonka and the vanilla. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's really that tonka that gives it that custardy, ice creamy evocation. Like if you had an amber flavored whipped cream, maybe that's more like it. But again, not lactonic. I'm only talking about texture. If you recall Yves Rocher's Venice, it actually leans more along those lines, but still even smoother than that and not quite as dark. It's a little bit airier. When it really starts to dry down, you get a more hazy, powdery quality, a little bit more balsamic, maybe even a hint of cigarette ash. As a former smoker,
I love the smell of smoke.
It has the romanticized aspects of the smell of a cigarette. But that's just a hint. It's not pronounced. Don't get me wrong. Don't be scared off by what I've just said. I'm just an addict. That's where my mind goes. I just think this is exquisite. Exquisite? Exquisite. It's super sensual. I find it really, really sexy. It's a uniquely sexy fragrance. It feels like a more luxe, luxurious version of the aforementioned fragrances. Man, every time I smell it, it feels like the first time, like I'm meeting it all over again. I never want to be without this fragrance. I find it extraordinary. Krazy Krizia, or Krizia, from Krizia. So that is it for today, you guys. I hope you found this fun and interesting. Man, yeah, these are some of my all-time faves. On another day, this could have probably made it into my top 10 for life video, but you know, who knows? Everything all the time subject to change, just like life. So thank you again for spending some time with me today. What are your absolute hidden gems? Have you tried any of these fragrances? Do they also make your hidden gems list? Follow me also over on Instagram _RubyZion_, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.